Hey!
Beaners!
Whoa.
Welcome back. We're back. Everybody's back.
Yeah.
Everybody made it. Everybody's still alive.
We're still intact. Okay, I guess we're starting off a lot darker than normal. But
I said I hope.
Yeah, you did say you hope, I guess.
Have you watched the Friday continuation?
What if I just said no? What if and then we just stared at the camera for 9 minutes?
And then we jumped to the next movie. Nothing happened.
I watched the Friday continuation.
That's also what it's called, not the continuation.
The continuation. Friday, the continuation. It was. I laughed. It was funny.
One question.
Yeah.
Funnier or not funnier than the first one?
I liked it more than the first one.
We're on the same page.
Yeah,
I thought it was literally a funnier movie than the first because it never at once tries to take itself seriously.
It starts when it never starts to take itself seriously.
Ever.
That's what I like. I mean, it starts with them leaving the jail from the front of the jail. Yeah.
And they're like at the bottom.
At like daytime.
Yo, it's not even nighttime.
Yeah, they're running around with chains and shit. Like, it's really funny.
No one notices either, bro.
No, that's the best part.
They're riding on a bike, and then like literally a woman just has her grogroceries.
Yeah, they're like at a stopwalk and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
They waited at the stopwalk. They waited at the stopwalk. Oh God, yeah, you're right. It's nonstop comedy in this.
Yeah, that's why I like it. It was a very fun movie.
The first one does. I mean, and I love the first one, and I get why it's a cult classic, but
it tries to be serious at some point.
It tries to give you a message. It tries to be
like the gun thing, the whole
you fight with these.
Yeah. Whereas this one, no, he falls into poop, and that's where we're going. That's where we start.
It does start there.
Yeah, it starts with a fall that would have normally hurt an elderly person.
Yo, that would have fucked his butt up.
That would have fucked his whole back up.
Yeah, that was like a hospital fall.
Yeah, that was definitely a hospital fall. Old people can't fall like that. Yeah,
that's like a 50 and up. You ain't falling like that.
Because his legs fell out from under him. It's not like he fell. He flipped.
In the poop. The poop.
In the poop. I mean, he had poop the entire
Also, how much
time.
poop was that for that little dog?
I know, right? In a weird spot, too.
Yeah.
Too much poop. Too much poop.
What did I hit? What did I miss? Let's go through the rigmarole.
You hit the stepmom or whatever. No, not his aunt. Or whatever.
My God. Sugar?
Jesus. Yeah, Sugar. Oh my God.
Yo, how much would you have fucked that lady though? Probably.
Oh, dude, absolutely. What are you talking about?
I would have fucked that lady.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You mean the one who's just trying to fuck me?
She's trying to fuck me, uncle. That's
yeah, come on, uncle.
She's trying to. You're watching this.
Yeah. That was great. I guess because they're going from paycheck to paycheck because they have this eviction notice and there's these weird Mexican gangsters living on the block. I didn't expect the area to be as nice as it was.
Oh, it was really nice. Like an extremely nice cul-de-sac, dude.
Yeah, the lottery winner made sense. But those Mexican gangsters didn't make any sense. They moved in with their sister who lives in the house alone. What are they doing?
Yeah, and they're crazy overprotective.
Yeah. Oh, there were certain things though in this movie that I'm because it was made in 2000.
Yeah.
That was so 2000. Gas was under $2. But this was my thing, right? I wrote this down because I noticed that. They won the lottery.
Yes.
And they paid $230,000 for that house. They live in LA for that house in 2000.
Yes.
Meaning that they hit the lottery again. Because if they stay in that house is worth $2 million, $3 million probably now.
And they got the house. They didn't lose the house.
They didn't
You're
lose
right.
the house.
So they hit the lottery again.
They hit the lottery again. They don't know it, but they hit the lottery again. They won the lottery
the third
twice.
One should have been about. Or is it? You know what I mean?
Unless the third one was made after the housing crisis, I don't think it's about that.
So funny. If the third one just takes a fucking the Big Short kind of take.
Yeah.
The third one was just the Big Short.
Well, yeah, the Big Short. Unc makes a couple of bad loans, and we learn about
wonky eye.
Yeah, we learn about the bunch loans or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, through Natalie Portman, whoever the fuck tells us.
It was a Suicide Squad girl.
Maggie, hot chick, Australian.
Yeah,
you know
Australian. Oh my God, what's her name?
Maggie Robbie.
Margot Robbie. Hey, we did it.
We very rarely do that on this podcast.
We figured that out. Yeah. I thought Epps did a very, very good job.
How silly is that guy?
What I enjoyed about it is he wasn't trying to be Chris Tucker.
No. He didn't try to be him once.
No, which was, I think, what the movie needed.
Yeah, a different kind of funny.
Because this guy was a bitch.
Dude. Because Chris Tucker's a bitch. He's a bitch, but he talks a lot of shit.
Yeah.
This guy is
a bitch, dude. He whines.
He just complains about everything. Yeah, and he's a fucking damn near retarded.
Yeah, he's pretty retarded. He bought himself a BMW with a record store job. What are you doing?
He's talking about his 20s.
Dude, people buy these expensive cars.
That's real.
You said it once at the store about you saw someone pull up in a Mercedes that they shouldn't have had, and you're like, this guy has a brand new Mercedes and has to move it for street cleaning.
Yeah.
Like, it's shit like that. It's like, what are you doing?
What a fucking idiot.
You already won the lottery. You just live within your means for a little bit. That money becomes more money.
Dude, you're right. Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, right? Buying a house, painting it purple for no reason.
Also, he said, we got this house and this BMW. Wait a minute. You got two things. And you spent all your money on two things.
Yeah, well, I guess that's why when you don't have any money and then you get a lot of money, you don't know how much and how little that is at the same time.
Ooh, yeah.
It's like a fine line because it's a lot of money, but it could be a little money very fast.
Though you did break down how you're the only person to bring up that
they won the lottery again.
I think in the history, I don't even think Ice Cube did. Like, if you told him that now, you'd be like, oh, I guess so.
Yeah, that's what made the movie real cool. So you guys don't even know how lucky you are. You fucking that's why you fucking lucky sons of bitches.
Playing the moving on up thing at the end. Actually, it all makes sense. Yeah! It all does tie together.
Dude, like it really does tie together. Like it's weird. Like I wouldn't expect Next Friday to improve with historical context. It really sort of did make the movie better.
What a thing to notice. You know what? I still my favorite shot still, for some reason, is when he goes up to tell his dad that he got fired in the eviction notice, and his aunt's in the GIMP thing, and then he goes in to like hug his dad. Like, I got fired. And his dad's like, what? He's like, I know, right? Because it's just, I think that's so, like, why would you try to, what?
Yeah, that's a good point. But he's just so stupid.
He's so stupid. Yeah,
he's so
he
stupid.
Really killed this, Mike Epps. I mean, this also blew you. This is how we know who you are. I get that now.
I get it. It's the same level. Like he killed it. Like Chris Tucker killed it.
Yep. Yeah. And it's like, oh, and it blossomed his career. Yo, man, Ice Cube be fucking with niggas, man.
You know what's funny? That's why I wrote this down too. It's like Ice Cube, at least comedically, isn't a very good actor. But he surrounds himself with so much talent.
Every time. The Jump Streets, the Ride Along, the fucking...
The talent he's around.
Every movie he's in, he surrounds
He's around talented people. I mean, NWA, like...
That's so funny. He's not in that.
That would be... What? No, not the movie, like the actual group.
Fuck.
Not Straight Outta Compton.
I thought you were like... I was hoping you were like, wait, that's not him?
Yeah, that would be funny. No, I'm talking about the actual group.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, starting from that.
Surround himself with... I mean, Eazy-E, Dr. Dre. I mean, yeah. He clearly knows
how to
talent.
He clearly knows how to at least if not be the one to succeed, at least put himself in a position where everyone else around him succeeds.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's a skill that he has.
Yeah, because you're right. He is not a good comedic actor. Only time he's ever been a good comedic actor are the Jump Streets, and that's because he's the captain.
Yeah, and he plays serious.
Yeah.
He plays because his Boys in the Hood was great. I think he can play serious.
Oh, Boys in the Hood. Now, non-comedy, the dude can act.
Yeah,
the dude can act. I'll give him that.
But he only has one comedy face. That's his comedy.
That's his comedy. Yeah.
What? I haven't seen Are You There yet, but I'm sure it's a lot of.
Oh, it's that.
I mean, that's the cover. The cover
is him going. These kids.
Yeah.
I'm Ice Cube.
Why am I confused? I have it all together. That's.
Oh, Ice, you really don't.
I know that's the one chink in his armor in my mind. It's like, you can't. You're not as good a comedic actor as you are a serious actor.
One chink. What a chink in the armor, dude.
My favorite. My favorite line of the throwaway joke that you didn't say. Mike Epps says, "Big girls need love too," and the white guy goes, "Faux show."
Yeah, the Roach character is just
like, what is that?
What was this dude? Who wrote this in this movie?
Yeah.
And was like, yo, we need this white guy.
Well, and they only get kidnapped because, they get kidnapped by the brothers at the end, but they only get kidnapped because the Roach dude starts making a big deal about
the skateboard.
Yeah, where it's like, dude, they let you go. You should just go.
Also, the way he knocked on the door, they could have killed you when they answered.
Yeah.
They also answered with AK-47s in your face.
Yeah.
To be like, you know what? I'm going to bring up this fucking... I know you got a gun in my face, but...
Also, what kind of weird-ass party were they throwing?
Yeah, the party was extremely...
Yeah, it was very weird. Just like, fuck, what are you doing?
Yeah, they were like, God, what did he say about what did that nigga say about being in jail? He said, I don't like locked doors.
Yeah.
No,
I'm bilingual.
It's a difference.
Also,
oh my God, what a weird way to plead somebody not to rape you, though.
Yeah,
because that's what he's saying. He's implying that somebody's about to rape him, and he's going
because I think he's bisexual. That's fun.
But it's also like, bro, you're about to get raped. Wait.
Why does he care?
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think's happening? A lot of shit going on in that joke.
I just kept thinking, if you have that much money around and you let these seemingly random women, they definitely don't know them very well, around.
Dude, that one guy busts the door open while he knows they're in there counting money.
Yeah, I saw that.
I have to kill you if I'm a real gangster.
Yeah, there's no way you have that much money around that many people you don't know.
Yeah, whores.
Yeah, well, especially. Yeah. So what are you doing? What are you doing? You deserve to lose that money.
Joker family.
Yeah. And that's next Friday.
We'll be back. Check stuff. Check. Whisper loud to whisper. Right, go ahead.
And now we're checking for me. And I'm whispering. All right.
3, 2, beans.
Spoiled.
Welcome back.
Hey.
Thank you for listening still. Ehsan, are you ready to do today's bean?
Yeah, I'm ready to do today's bean.
Well, Jassim, what happens in the motion picture Philadelphia?
Oh, shit. Oh, okay. So we're going pretty dark here. That's what I say. It's Tom Hanks, and he has AIDS. He gets it. And maybe, I don't know. How does he get it? Maybe, is he a gay guy? Maybe. Or does he get it from a blood transfusion? Because that still happened back then. It does still happen now, probably.
Question.
Yeah, maybe not in America, but definitely other places. What were we talking about? Philadelphia. Okay. Yeah, and he's trying to get a settlement. Win a settlement. He goes to court, tries to get a settlement, and he's trying to get over the stigma of what it means to have AIDS in the time.
Yes.
To win money, and then he gets the settlement at the end, and then an Oscar. That's the settlement. The settlement is he wins an Oscar. That's Philadelphia.
Well, an Oscar nom, but
he won an Oscar for
he
this.
did win the Oscar for
Yeah,
this.
yeah. He won 2 in a row.
This one for us.
Yeah. So
That's all you know about this, really?
Yeah, that's all I know.
Well, my friend,
Yes.
this was a great motherfucking movie.
I imagine. This is peak Tom Hanks.
Oh, this one was an Oscar movie, blah, 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 for a reason. A lot of times it's not a reason. This one was for a reason. Here we go. A lot of tears this morning. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sam had never seen it either, so it was a good movie. All right. Trey had never seen it, so this is a good movie. Okay. So, movie starts, slow pan of the city, New York. No, Philadelphia. All right. So there's lots of Philadelphia. So Philadelphia, beautiful shots. Philly, a really slow, sad song is playing. Okay.
Take the seriousness right out of it. I'm getting that wrong. Yeah.
So the just shots of kids at school, people working in the city, people just different jobs, people construction, you know what I mean? Teachers,
Right.
just showing the city, of Philadelphia on a regular morning. You know what I mean? It's also one of those where the movie, remember the movies where the opening credit scene's 4 minutes?
Oh, one of those?
Yeah.
It's like a James Bond.
Full 4 minutes, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like a James Bond movie.
It's
You know
like
what
a
I mean?
James Bond
But
movie.
it's a really
At the
sad
end,
song
Tom
playing.
Hanks.
I don't know. So, Philadelphia, right?
Okay.
We hear Tom Hanks talking you hear the voiceover coming in, and he is talking to his other lead in this movie, Denzel Washington.
I had no idea.
I know. When you didn't bring him up, I could tell. I was like, oh, he doesn't know the other lead in this.
Huh.
Oh, this movie's the shit. Okay, so and they start right into it. Tom
Yeah.
and Denzel. Okay.
Yeah.
They're talking to a judge. All right, so you're right about the law stuff a little bit.
Yeah, the only clip I know of this, he's in a courtroom.
Oh, so you knew that there was some form of court in this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I got that, but nothing else. Nothing else.
I got the Oscar too. Don't tell me
Oh,
short.
you got the Oscar.
Yeah.
So he's they're talking to a judge, and Denzel they're holding a powder up in the air, and it's not a courtroom. This is it's just 2 lawyers and the judge.
Oh, one of those, whatever that is.
Whatever that situation is.
Yeah, I've
But
seen that in Law and Order plenty of times.
Yeah. So they're both talking, right? And Denzel is on the side of he does this beautiful speech about how this this toxic dust is getting in the pollution in the air, and it's near this school and blah blah blah, right? And then Tom is trying to save the construction site and saying how, well, if you terminate this judge, you're gonna 700 people are out of jobs, where their kids are gonna go to school, how they're gonna feed, like, you know what I mean? He spins it like that. Like, you can tell they're both really good at what they do. They both spin it very well. You know what I mean? And then the judge says he's gonna make a decision, blah blah blah, and then they both like leave, right? But they're both like cool with each other. It's not like they're like, when they leave,
they're lawyers.
They're lawyers. It's like
they're just good at their jobs.
We've done this before, blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they go off into an elevator, and then they go off kind of separate ways. Okay. We follow Tom though. All right, and he goes into a giant building, and then he is getting blood work done with a bunch of other skinny people in this room. Okay. Right. So and he's like listening to music, and he's just working. And then a doctor comes up, and he's like, they're like, Andy. He's like, oh hey, yeah, what's up, doc? And they're like, your blood work's in, blah blah blah. I'll come back to you a little bit, and we'll talk to you about it. And he's like, okay, cool. And then Tom's like, he just puts his he's kind of looking around as he's getting his shit done, and then he notices this one guy who's like sick as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, this nigga's like about to go out,
right? And
Tom's looking at him. He snaps back at him, and he starts working again, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to mention how many times the acting. You can just assume everything I say, the acting's phenomenal, so I don't have to say it over and over again. You know what I mean?
That's heavy. So blood transfusion,
right? And they jump right into it. Like, yo, this nigga sick. Here you go. They ain't wasting no time. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that hit me.
Oh, bro. Oh, then we're just getting started. If that hits you, then here we go.
My God. That's so unlucky.
Right. So he gets done there, right? He catches a cab into this really big building, right?
Right.
And he goes into work, right? And the people are telling him, oh, hey, Andy, great job on the Kindle case. Oh, Andy, great job on the Kindle case. Killed it on the Kindle case. And he's just like, high five. He's clearly like a big guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's clearly like, oh, this is a big guy here.
Right.
Everyone's saying what's up to him. You know what I mean? He sees this other black woman who comes up, and he asks her to help him with this other case he's about to work on. And then she's like, go fuck yourself. You can go exploit some other young person. I'm not doing that shit with you. And he laughs. He's like, all right, I will, right? It's just like one of those scenes, like him walking in the office kind of shot. You know what I mean? He's just saying, hey, everybody loves him. He's talking to his assistant. Assistant says that she did all this work for him today, and then she asked if she can go home early, and he's like, no problem.
Right. So he's like the man.
He's the man. He's a cool guy. He's really nice. They're showing like, oh, he's like a nice dude too, and like people just like him. Right. But he's also good at his job. Okay. So he sends his assistant home early. He goes in his office, and right then he calls his mom, and he's like, hey mom, what's going on? She's like, hey Andy, and he says, hey, the docs. He's just like, what'd the doctor say? And he's like, doc says I'm fine. Calm down. Blood is excellent. My T cells are steady. Everything's okay. And then he goes, but enough about that. How are you, mom? Are you okay? And then the mom's like, just like trying not to cry, bro. Oh. It's a fucked up scene. Mom is just trying not to cry, and then she's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And then Andy, he hears it, and he's such a good son. He just starts talking and like calms her down, like starts talking about something else, right? And it kind of fades out of that scene, and then they just kind of talk out of it,
Okay, so he already has it.
Oh yeah, everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
Well, and like his mom, he knows. You know what I mean? Like that.
But, okay, but not everybody knows.
Well, we'll see who knows. So,
damn, it's like a weird whodunit. It's like a weird, like it's like I didn't expect this element of mystery, because who he knows says a lot about who he tells shit and who like figures shit out.
And the time, AIDS was new at this time, so this is a very scary disease. Very scary disease. You know what I mean? Very don't know if it's contagious kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of shit.
Yeah, they used to not touch AIDS patients.
So. All right. A little past that, but not far, but not too far away.
Yes.
Way closer to that than now.
Right, well, now it's like a joke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Tom, he's working late night on a case, eating Chinese food, right? And it's like clearly late. He's by himself. Right. A guy comes down and interrupts him and says, hey, Charles wants to see you upstairs. And he's like, Charles wants to see me? And they're like, they want to see you in the big office. He's like, oh, should I get a dress? Like, I feel like I'm underdressed. They're like, no, it's okay. Come on up, right? And he's like, okay. And he puts his food down, goes up to the top floor to see all the big rich bosses, right? All old white men, of course.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they ask him about this case, like, right? And what, like, advice on what they should do on this case. And if they should take it and blah, 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 who should win if they do take it, And then he says how, well, if you take it this way, if you take this company, he says this dope thing about how if you take this other company, you'll win because of this, that. And like, he just knows exactly what he's talking. Like he answers it immediately, confidently, you know what I mean? Real smooth, not fazed by it,
just boss.
Yeah. And then he says like all these reasons, and then they all kind of laugh and they're all like impressed with him, right? And then they tell him that's exactly what they just did. right? They're like, they were just curious, but that's exactly what just happened.
Yeah.
And how they just bought this other, like big law firm, something and associates. And
they're all the 3 names and associates.
yeah, so now it's like 6 names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to be finalized in 10 days. And Andrew Beckett, you are now promoted to senior associate. So everybody like starts clapping. They're like, and he's like, thank you. You know what I mean? He's like real thankful, and they're all like, you earned this, Andy. You're the man, blah, blah, blah. They're all giving him all this love, right? Like, just old school white looking dudes too, like power players.
Right. This is
power room.
He just, Tom Hanks just got put into another level of power.
Of power, exactly.
Yeah, he's just
this is also in the movie, this is the most prestigious law firm. Okay. This is supposed to be the most prestigious
So he's
law
just
firm.
one step away from like partner.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and he's a young dude too. He's young in this, all right?
Okay.
So,
yeah, it's just young Tom Hanks.
he's real young. Denzel too. They're both young guys. Like they're probably like supposed to be in their 30s in this, which for to be already that, I guess, because all the other guys in the room are like 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
So they're all clapping, blah blah blah, and all the shots are so 90s. So when you see this, you'll know what I mean. Just like every shot just looks like a 90s.
The angles?
Yeah, it's the angles. It's the angles, the way they shot it.
Yeah, 90s movies are all angles.
Yeah, it's exactly. I don't know. You remember when we were watching the Jerry Maguire clips the other day?
Yeah.
It's exactly like that. All the shots look exactly like. I'm sure it's probably the same director for all I fucking know. But it's the exact same shit. It's crazy.
It's funny.
So Andrew, I'm overwhelmed, blah, 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 and they tell him how it's going to be 10 days before they get this, but they also need him to do one more thing to file some complaint for this other company, but it needs to be filed, it needs to be done exactly right, and they trust him with this job. You know what I mean? And in 10 days, he's going to be senior associate. In 10 days, they'll have the so you know what I mean? But he's got to do this one last thing. There's always, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And then the AIDS. There's time. They left space for the AIDS. It's like Tom Brady. They give too much time.
Can't give a nigga too much time.
Yeah, you get too much time at the clock.
So they tell him, 10 days, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, they're also happy for him. And then right then another partner goes, hey, what's that on your forehead? And he goes, what? And he's like, you got something there on your forehead. And then he kind of looks at it. He's like, oh, it's a racquetball. I got hit in the head. Really got me the other day. And the guy's like, oh. Right, the other big associate. But you can tell he's looking at him like, huh,
something's up.
And then he goes and he talks to the Charles Wheeler guy, the head guy, the Wheeler or whatever partners. Right, this is the main guy who gave him the promotion. And he goes, he tells him how proud the Wheeler guy's telling him how proud of him he is, and he hugs him, and they have like a really deep, intimate moment, like where they're looking at each other, and he's like, "Thank you, Charles," and he's like, "You earned this, son." You know what I mean? Like this, so they clearly fuck with each other. You know what I'm saying? And then he hugs him, and he's like, "Now you go home." He's like, no, actually, go back to work. And then they laugh. He's like, yes, sir. He goes back to work, and then they thank you, and he's like, no sweat, buddy. One more, and then he leaves. Right? 9 days later. The movie's done like that, by the way, which I really love. So
okay.
9 days later, right? Andy is now bundled up in his house. Looks a lot thinner. Tom Hanks, you killed this, by the way, with just the weight loss. The weight loss in itself is acting. Just the weight loss through the movie is its own character. You know what I mean? So this is the first time you already see him like, oh, he lost a little bit of weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's bundled up in his house like he's freezing or something, And he's working, just going crazy, working profusely. And he still has the bruise on his head is now bigger. Okay? It's been 9 days. All right?
This is so much already. What is happening? Why are we doing this? I gotta go to work later. What the fuck?
I do too. So he comes in to work. So he comes into work after hours now, right? He waits till after hours because he knows what he looks like. So he's waiting till after hours to come in and get this work done. But he has to get this thing done. It's a big thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he finally works throughout the whole night, finishes the proposal, and puts it on his desk. Staples it all together. He's proud of himself. Pulls out a cigar. Like has a cigar. Like you know what I mean? Like got it done just in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He calls his assistant right then, and he tells her, "Hey, the proposal is on the desk." And he explains again how important it is. It's sitting right there. You can't miss it. Do not fuck this up. Make sure it's in by this time. You know what I mean? Like goes through everything one more time.
Right.
It's all here. Okay. He cuts to they like, and then he says then it cuts back to him like, so like you hear this on the phone. This is after the cigar. Now he's on the phone, so you see the office still, but now he's on the phone, and it cuts to now the assistant's like in the daytime talking, and he's telling her how all this, it's all on the desk, blah blah blah, it's important, how important it is. But then he says, hey, and by the way, I'm not going to be in at work today again. And then she's like, again? And he's like, yeah, just still not getting over this sickness, still sick, right? And she's like, okay. And then he hangs up the phone. And what's really going on is he's at his house and he has a makeup artist at his house. And she's trying to cover up all the lesions on him. You know what I mean? And he's like orange. And he's like, what the fuck is this? I look orange. And then she's like, yeah, but this is the best color to cover up lesions and blah, blah, blah. And he's saying like how he can't miss any more days of work. He's already been gone 4 days. They're going to think he's on a cruise or some shit. You know what I mean? Like real life shit. Like I love how real this movie is, right? Just like the real problems in this.
So much.
So, because it's not overdone at all. This is a very like.
It's so real.
Yeah.
It's so real.
The makeup thing, right? Isn't that like.
You're just that sick.
But you're a workaholic.
Yeah.
And you're not a whiner. You're not a complainer.
And I'm such a hypochondriac. Like this is like.
The thought of the AIDS.
Yeah, just the thought of it's like seeping into my body.
That's fucked up. So, yeah, it's so funny.
So much.
Right? So
medical shit makes me, ugh.
Yeah. So he goes, they're going to think I'm on a cruise, right? And then right then he goes, ow. And they go, Andy? He goes, ow, 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 ow. And he stands up and they're like, Andy. And then he gets up and he's holding
he's at work?
Huh?
He's at work?
No, he's at the at his house with the makeup people. And they're all looking at him. These are all his friends and stuff that do know he's sick. You know what I mean? And they're all looking at him. They're like, Andy, you okay? And then he rushes to the bathroom and he barely makes it. And then you just hear him and they're like, you know. And then you don't hear it. You just like all the friends are outside looking at the door. And then one of the black girls goes, just like my cousin Fredo, implying like, oh, I know. This is... It's about to start getting worse. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's about to happen. Also, I was like, oh, she's black.
Yeah.
Only people who had AIDS at this time were definitely black people and gay people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're all looking at him real sad, seeing that they're staring at the door for a while. Dude, the shots are also I'm explaining. The movie doesn't take long for me to explain, but it's way longer because all the shots are slow.
And they keep them.
They let you feel it.
They linger.
They let you feel it.
Because it's uncertainty.
Yeah. So he's just at the door,
yeah.
and his friends are just looking at the door all sad. And then finally, a friend walks up and he's like, Andy, you okay? You know, and then you can hear Andy just crying from inside the room. And then it cuts to him and he's like, I need to go to the hospital. Right? Next scene, Antonio Banderas is sprinting into the hospital. Right? I know you weren't going to see that coming. Also, he's my favorite character in this movie. I think he steals this movie. He's so good. He comes in.
Okay.
And he kisses Tom Hanks and hugs him immediately. The boyfriend.
Oh, fuck.
This movie is top shelf acting. Okay?
Oh, fuck. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see Antonio Banderas as this guy.
Is this gay lover? Oh, you're gonna love him.
Yeah, oh my God.
Love him, dude.
Antonio Banderas is great.
Though, I mean, Tom Hanks is the movie, but then Denzel, dude, all three of them. It's so good.
Also,
yeah.
Hall of Fame acting names.
Antonio Banderas.
Denzel Washington. Tom Hanks. Just names alone.
Names alone, I get why the movie was Oscar nominated.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there it is. That's why. Just because everyone's name's awesome.
Awesome. Antonio Banderas. Tony Bandit. That's your name.
Name is Tony Bandit.
What the fuck? I bet your Banderas means something else, and I'm being totally racist.
You're right.
But
you're not
I'm
racist.
also
you're
right.
Always right. You don't forget it. So he runs in and he kisses Tom Hanks and he hugs him. Yeah. And right then the black friend that was with him, he leaves. And she's like, I gotta go. And he's like, oh, thank you for taking him, blah, blah, blah. And then he touches Tom's head. He's like, oh, you got a fever, baby. And he's got like a really thick accent, Latino accent, you know?
Yeah.
And then he calls the doctor.
This is peak Banderas accent time.
Oh, yeah. The doctor.
Usual Suspects
was
around this.
Yeah,
was that Benicio del Toro?
No, that was Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, same, whatever. Same thing.
He was Captain Zorro. Or
Zorro. Yeah.
Captain Zorro.
Lieutenant Zorro.
So the doctor comes over and he says they're going to have to do a colonoscopy on Tom and look inside of him, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then Antonio's like, do you need to do this? And then the doctor's like, who are you? And he's like, who are you? He gets all mad.
That's great.
And he's like, I'm Dr. Clancy, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, well, and then Tom comes, he goes, this is my partner. This is my partner. He just takes care of, he records all my visits, all my doctor visits. He's just, very thorough or something like that. And then Antonio starts going off because the guy says, well, we need to do this kind of treatment. And then Antonio's like, that's a bullshit treatment, blah, blah, blah. He's going on. Just a very protective boyfriend and knows what, like, clearly is like.
Knows his shit.
Knows his shit about this. Like, he cares.
Well, he lives in the world, too.
Yeah.
He lives in the world that is devastating.
Yeah. So the doctor says how like, hey, hey, sir, just so you know, you're not family and I do have the right to kick you out. And then he's like, I am not family. I am. And then they're going off. And then Tom, bro, he's such a good actor. He goes, you know what? How about we everybody calm down? And then how about I eat some food? I'll eat some food. I try to get some more, because they're saying how his diarrhea or something like that. He's like, I'll get some diarrhea. I'll get some more diarrhea for you guys. Everybody's going to be happy. Everybody's like very lawyer, calms everybody down. Yeah. And then they look at each other and they walk off.
Right.
And then, so Tom goes and he goes, they like right then he goes, my office has called me 10 times today. I got to answer this. Right. So he goes over to answer the phone, like to make a call. And he's so chill about everything. Like, he's just calmly and he's making everybody laugh, kind of like and smile. And he just hasn't been flustered yet, about anything. And then he goes over and he makes a phone call and he's watching the TV and it's a Denzel Washington commercial. They haven't seen each other since the beginning. You know what I mean? So now it's a commercial going on, and he's laughing and making fun of his commercial because it's like a hacky,
It's
like hey, you fall down, got hit by a car, you know what I mean?
Mesothelioma.
Yeah, one of those kind of commercials, right? And so he's like, what, like laughing, and then he turns, and then right then his assistant goes off. She's like, something's wrong. Andy, where are you? Something's going wrong. He's like, what? She's like, the Highline complaint. The complaint, the Highline thing. That's what it was. The Highline complaint, which was the thing he had to do work on. She's like, where is it? Nobody can find it. And he goes, what do you mean? I brought it into the office last night. It should be there. And she's like, well, it's not. And then he's like, what? Well, look it up on my computer. Blah blah blah. And then the dude. They go to this dude, and this dude's like looking for it now, and he can't find it. And he's like, yo, there's no traces of it on your computer either. He's like, what? You know what I mean? And then he's like, that he freaks out and says, oh, that can't be. And then he's like, do you guys realize that this proposal has to be in 75 minutes? And he looks at the clock and then he starts freaking the fuck out and going off on him. And he's like, while he's doing all this, it's this great shot of this woman who's just sitting in the hospital room and she's looking at the back of his neck. And it keeps cutting, but while he's having this really serious conversation on the phone, it's just a big lesion on the back of his neck, and this woman, and it's just that, and then back to him, and then that. Dude, the shots are, and it just makes you just like feel like you're in the room or some shit. You know what I mean?
What a ridiculous detail,
dude! Right? So
this is intense. This is very intense.
Oh, you know what? Literally, the words I wrote, and you can see I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Read what I wrote after the lesion on the back of the neck.
This movie is intense, bro.
Just so you know that I'm with you, okay? Okay, we're not like when I was watching it, my nigga. I had to write down this movie is intense.
Why is this happening?
Yo, how crazy is that you said that though? That's exactly what I was feeling.
This is some next level shit.
It's so funny.
All you listeners, all you true beaters will know this is next level shit right now.
Good movie, bro.
You're like
very rarely we do good movies. Like this.
Your eyes are like watering.
No, this was like I told you, this is like $1 Million Baby. I was like, no, this is a movie. Okay?
Oh God.
So
people are good at their jobs.
Andy goes, they go, it's not here, Andy. Andy, it's not here. And then he goes, I'm on my way. Right? Hangs up. And then he starts talking to himself and he's breathing. Every problem has a solution. Every problem has a solution. This is Tom Hanks saying, every problem has a solution. 1 month later. All right. Denzel.
God.
Yo.
Damn.
Come on, dude.
God, what great writing.
I love this guy knows right. Okay. Denzel is with his wife now. Okay.
Yeah.
In the room, and he's with his wife in his room, and she's giving birth to a baby girl.
Oh, home birth.
Home birth. No. In a
hospital room. Okay.
And then
wow, it changes a lot.
Yeah, it does. And Denzel's like, oh my God, push, baby, push. And then the baby comes out, and everybody's holding it and cheering, And then he's trying to take a picture of it, but he's so happy and excited he can't. And then and his wife's like holding the baby like done, and he goes, baby, I can't work the camera. And then she has to do it. Like it's really funny. She has to do it like Tyler hands it to him. He takes a picture, everybody's cheering and shit. And then it cuts to him now. He's outside in the hallway on the phone, and he's talking to some family member. He's telling him, no, bring the good shrimp, the champagne, blah blah blah, Dom Perignon. And he's like, how much? $100? Okay, get something like Dom Perignon and just bring it to the hospital. Like he's just being extra Denzel.
Funny.
Extra funny, really charismatic, just happy, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then he goes, by the way, and people keep recognizing us from TV in the hallway. People are like, hey, you're the guy from TV. And he's like he's loving it,
Yeah, he's eating it all up.
He's a lawyer,
Right.
So he, right then, he goes, all right, by the way, to his assistant, he's like, oh, did anybody call? Any work calls? And then she's like, Andrew Beckett called. And he goes, Beckett? And then right then all of his family busts in the hospital and they're like, ah! And then he kind of hangs up and just celebrates with them, right?
Right.
So 1 week later, all right? I told you, it goes like this the whole movie.
He's using Denzel to sue his old company. That's my guess now.
So, cut to Denzel and he's talking to a guy and he goes, now explain this to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Denzel, and he's saying how you want to sue the city, and he says how this guy wants to sue the city because he fell in a hole, blah, blah, blah. And the case is ridiculous. Like, he's explaining to this guy, and clearly the guy's just trying to scam the city.
Right.
And then the guy's like, yeah, I want to do that. And then Denzel's like, all right, you got a case. And then like they shake hands, tells him, he's like, you feeling any back pain? Or maybe you've had nightmares since the fall? And he's like, yeah, I have had nightmares since the fall. He's like, good, write that down. Write down all the nightmares. You know what I mean? He's just saying that. He's like, now make sure you call my assistant, blah, 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 right? And he leaves. And then he goes, okay, he goes, all right, Mr. Beckett, come on in, Mr. Beckett. And then right then Andy walks in, bro, and he looks way skinnier now. You know what I mean? Like, and now he's completely shaved. Now he's shaved, skinny, fucking kind of lesions. His face looks really fucked up. You know what I mean? And then, you know, they're like, oh, good to see you again, counselor. And they remember each other like, oh, yeah, from the case, blah, blah, blah. You know, we had that one, you know, the judge about the construction zones. You know, they're laughing. And then Denzel's like, man, what happened to your face? You all right? And then he goes, I have AIDS. And Denzel, they're shaking hands. And then Denzel goes, and he kind of stumbles back into his chair. And he's like, fuck. And then he just goes to the other side of the room and he's like, and they're just kind of looking at each other now. And now it's like, it just goes from like pure happiness to pure like anger. Like Denzel's now mad at him. Kind of.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, did you give me this?
Yeah, what the fuck? You shook my hand? Like, you know what I mean? You just see it.
So
Tom is like, Tom calmly goes, can I sit down? And then he's like, yeah. And Denzel's like looking all panicked and he goes, oh, look. And then Denzel's like, oh, look, you have a new baby girl. And Tom's just being really sweet. Because he's been this nice, sweet guy the whole movie.
Right,
so he's just like, oh, you have a new baby girl? Oh, she's beautiful. And he's talking. And he keeps like touching him. And he's like, oh, her baby girl's great. And he's like touching the picture. And he touches like a cigar. And all Denzel is noticing is everything he's touching. Great shots of just like his hand, the baby, him like setting his hat down. And then finally Denzel's like, oh, why are you here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because he's about to have a heart attack. You can tell. You know what I mean? Dude. And he goes, well, listen, I've been fired by Wyatt and Wheeler for wrongful termination. And Denzel's like, and you want to go after Wyatt and Wheeler? Like, what? You know? And he's like, yes, I do. Their story is I misplaced an important document. And that's why they fired me. Do you want to hear mine? And then he goes, Denzel goes, how many lawyers you come to before you came to me? And then Tom goes, 9. He's like, all right, continue.
Oh, so Denzel sees a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So
let's do this.
So he goes, Tom, and then Tom tells him the true story of what he feels happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they deleted it.
He goes, the complaint, he said, all of a sudden I worked hard nonstop, 10 days. I wasn't there the last couple of days, but I still was working on it. I put it in the day before. I went in early, put it in. The next day it vanished. All traces of it gone from my computer. And then miraculously, 1 minute before it was due, it popped up in one of the partners' hands. They found it somehow.
Right.
You know, turned it in and everything was okay at the last minute, but now I'm the guy who almost lost it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And he said, and then the next morning I was called into the big office, and then it cuts to like a flashback. Like, and they have him coming into a big table. He has hair again, he has a little more weight. And he comes in and he's like, they're like, Andy, before we begin, we want everyone to know, it's all the partners in the room that promoted him earlier.
Right.
And they're like, we want you to know that everyone in this room is your friend. And he goes, oh, I know that, Charles. And I just want to say, guys, again, I must apologize for yesterday's and the Highline mishap. Let's just thank God that the complaint was found and no damage was done. Right, guys? And then one of the bosses goes, this time, what about next time? And he goes, I can promise you, sir, there won't be a next time. And he goes, well, I don't know, Andy. Something's come over you recently. We've all noticed it. And like, yeah, one of the partners like, yeah, we've all noticed this attitude of you lately. You have an attitude problem. And then Andy's like, excuse me, Charles, excuse me, am I being fired? And then they're like, we feel it isn't fair to keep you in this company with your prospects being so limited. And he goes, excuse me, Charles, but this is preposterous. And then one of the guys goes, oh, and you don't have an attitude problem? And then he's like, you can tell he's like dumb because he just sideswiped. He had no idea. He had no idea. So he's like, what? You know? And then so right then he says, and then they talk about more how you almost blew that case and it was such a big deal and blah, blah, blah. And then how that we have to let you go. And then it cuts back to Denzel and Denzel goes, you were concealing your illness from them, weren't you? And then he goes, yes. And then Denzel goes, explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old. He says this whole movie is a great line. Explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old, all right? Don't you have to tell your employer that you have a deadly disease? And then he goes, and then Tom goes, that's not the point. I was sabotaged. I was sabotaged and blah, blah, blah. And that does not give them, I was sabotaged before they knew that I had AIDS.
Yes.
No, he said, I was sabotaged when they found out I had AIDS. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. So that's why it wasn't, even if I didn't tell them, it still doesn't give them the right to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then he was like, oh, well, you know what, counselor? This is Denzel. He's like, well, I don't buy your case, counselor. And then he goes, oh, is that correct? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, well, that's disappointing. And he goes, yeah, I'm just sorry. I don't see you have a case. And then Tom looks at him and goes, I have a case. He goes, now, if you don't want it for personal reasons, and then Denzel's like, yeah, that's correct. I don't want it for personal reasons. And then they kind of look at each other and he's like, well, thank you for your time then. And then he goes, then Denzel he gets up and Denzel kind of feels bad. And he's like, Mr. Beckett, I'm sorry about what happened. It's a bitch, you know? And then Tom looks at him like, and just walks out. Like, man, shut up.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah. Shut the fuck. You don't even want to help. Shut up. You know? So Denzel says how he right when he leaves, he runs out to his assistant and says how he needs to see someone right away. And then the assistant's on the phone. She's like, yes, sir. And he's like, right away. And she's like, she hangs up. And then it goes to Tom outside and real sad music starts playing. And he just looks defeated and tears start going. He tries not to break down, right? And then it cuts back to Denzel, and Denzel's at his doctor's office, and his doctor's telling him how he doesn't have AIDS.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Denzel's just being homophobic as shit.
Right.
You know? So Denzel gets home, and then it cuts to Denzel home, and you hear his wife go, you got a problem with gays, Joe. You know you do. And then he goes, no, I don't. Y'all don't have no problem with gays. And then his wife goes, how many you know? And he's like, how many you know? And then she names like a bunch of gay people she knows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then one of them, she says like Aunt Teresa. And then he goes, wait a minute. Aunt Teresa is gay? And she goes, yeah. He goes, that beautiful, voluptuous woman is gay? And she's like, yeah, how did you not know she was gay? You know? And he's like, I can't, well, I guess I admit it then. I'm prejudiced. I am prejudiced. And then he starts making fun of gay people and how they're all like dainty and full of shit and all that, right? And then he goes, now, you can call me old-fashioned, you can call me conservative, but what you better call me is a man. I am a man, you know? And then he shits on gay people and how disgusting they are, and it starts getting a little darker, right? You know, he says how disgusting they are. And then he goes up to his baby and he's like, baby, and he's like, look at you, my little sweet. He's like, make sure you stay away from Aunt Teresa. Don't ever talk to her, okay? And then the mom's like, why are you saying stuff like that to the baby? And he's like, what? I can't stand that faggot shit. And it gets real dark. Like the mood changes completely. You know what I mean? It's like that fucking faggot ass shit, bringing that gay shit. And his wife's like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he's like, well, and then he goes, what? Let me ask you something then, honey. Would you accept a client that you didn't want to talk to you, look at you, let alone fucking breathe on you? And then she's like, you know what, Joe? If I was you, I guess not. He's like, yeah, you're fucking right, it's not. You know? And then that's the end of that. And it just ends. So, it's Christmas time now, right?
Yay!
A couple months later, like 2 months later, Christmas time.
Yay! Woo! Whee!
Denzel is working late in the library. Okay.
Yeah.
He looks over. He doesn't notice it yet, but he's looking around, and then like the camera pans. Andy's sitting across the library, also working.
Right.
Right. He covered up, bundled up. You know what I mean? A librarian comes up and goes, "Sir, here's that book you were looking for on HIV discrimination." Everybody stops, and Denzel looks over because everybody hears that, and Denzel even looks over, you know, and everybody's now looking at Andy, and then Andy's like, "Thank you," and then the librarian keeps staring at him. It's real long, like for a while, and then Andy kind of looks up, and then he's like, "Sir, we do have a private room if you'd be more comfortable there," and then he's like, "No, I'm fine here, thank you," and then the guy stares at him longer, and then Denzel's like trying to like hide now, but like watch, you know, and then he goes, "Sir, wouldn't you be more comfortable in a research room, you know, off to yourself?" And then Tom looks around and then coughs. And the cough is so, because the room, and everybody's staring at him, bro. And the cough is just so intense. And he goes, "No, would it make you more comfortable if I was in your research room?" And then right then, Denzel walks up and he goes, "Beckett, how you doing?" And then Beckett looks up and he's like, "Counselor." And then they both look at the librarian, and the librarian's like, "Whatever, sir." And then he walks off, like pissed. It's like, damn, bro. You know what I mean? So the other guy who's sitting next to Tom, he also gets up disgusted and leaves. And then Denzel's kind of looking at him. You can see he kind of feels bad. And then he goes, "So who did you get? Did you find a lawyer?" And then he goes, "I'm a lawyer, Tom." And then he keeps studying, right? Like, no. And then he goes, Tom. And then Tom stops. Such a nice dude. He goes, "How's your baby?" And then Denzel's like, "Oh, she's doing great. Thanks for asking." He goes, "What was her name? I never knew her name." And he's like, "Larice." He's like, "Oh, Larice is such a beautiful name." And he keeps talking to him. And he's such a nice dude, bro. And you see like the slow panel of Denzel, and he's just breaking down. I'm like,
fuck, it's like
This is a human.
This is a good guy. Yeah,
It's a good guy. You know what I mean? And then he tries to walk.
Also, what's manlier than having AIDS and being like, oh, I'm gonna fucking study law.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty fucking manly.
And I'm gonna win this case.
I'm gonna win this case. That's
it's the biggest law company out there.
Yeah. That's real man shit right there. That is real man shit.
So Denzel goes, he kind of breaks and he goes to walk away and then he turns and he goes, one question. How did they find out you had AIDS? And then he goes, a partner noticed a legion on my forehead. And then Denzel like sits down, right? And he goes, but a partner spotting a legion to you getting terminated, like, how do you jump to that conclusion? And then Tom's like, that's a good point. And then he goes through all of his notes, Andy, and then he pulls out the history on the guy, all the history on the guy who found the legion on his head.
Right.
And apparently this guy has been in this situation before where there was a woman at his job that everyone felt that he treated really bad because she got AIDS because of a blood transfusion. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that woman didn't get fired. And so they were like, and then Denzel was like, okay. And then like and then it like the great bird's eye view, like as they start looking over stuff. And then it's a shot of Tom reading like the laws of the like discrimination laws against AIDS and like what it is as a handicap. And then it's a great shot of him reading it. And then he gets to the part where he stops. And then he gets to this part where he has to read about how assured the death is of victims with AIDS. And then he reads through that, and then Denzel like helps him read through it. You know what I mean? It's
right.
then it pans up this bird's eye view. Beautiful shot as they keep talking. You know what I mean? Beautiful shot, dude. Love that shot.
Holy fuck. Jesus.
6 weeks later.
Oh my God.
So
this is every turn is just like.
Well, I'll lighten it up in there for you now. We're at a Sixers game.
Woo!
I know you like that. I was like, he'd like just the idea of basketball in any way makes him happy.
Yeah, I think so.
And we're in a 90s Sixers game too, so we're at the Spectrum.
And are we? Oh, we're pre-Allen Iverson.
Not, yeah, 90s.
Yeah.
Early 90s too. So yeah. That's actually, this is early 90s. So we see all the rich people, the partners, they're in the box office suite, right? And Dr. J walks in. The actual Dr. J is in this movie.
Who's Dr. J?
Julius Erving.
Oh my God, bro, we're talking about AIDS and shit, so I'm thinking about doctors.
Well, when I said Sixers, I thought that's Dr. J.
Yeah, but there's been way more AIDS than Sixers.
You know what else? I said doctor like 5 times.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I did say Dr. J, and I could say your face was like, what character is this?
Yeah, Dr. J walked in. I was like, this is the guy who discovered AIDS? That's what I thought.
Julius Erving walks in. And all the partners, they freak out. Obviously, everybody freaks out, as they should. They freak out and they all start kissing his ass. Oh, Dr. J, I love you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right behind him walking in, Denzel walks in, okay? And then Mr. Wheeler's like, hey, what can I do for you, sir? Like trying to be like nice as well. Hey, thinking, just, this other guy coming in. And then he's like, oh, hey, Mr. Wheeler, I got a summons for you. And then Mr. Wheeler's like, what? And then he hands it to him and he goes, Dr. J, hey, I love you, brother. Big fan. Hey, if you ever need a lawyer, if you ever slip and fall or get in a bumper accident, you call me, okay? You call me, Dr. J. I'll see you in court. And then he walks out, right? And just smooth and shit. And then all the partners are like, and then Dr. J is like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So it cuts to all the old guys now. They're walking down a back hallway in the stadium. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they're talking about how they're plotting ways to decimate his character.
Right.
Like how they're going to decimate his character. They're like, I want to find out if he's done this. I want to find out if he goes to gay bars. I want to find out if he's been to this part of town. I want to find out like everything that they can find out to make him look like a bad person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so right then one of the guys goes, I think we should probably just settle this out of court before it becomes a big deal and everyone knows. And he goes, no, he brought AIDS into our office, Bob. Into our rooms, into our homes, into our families, like, you know what I mean? Because like we've met, like blah 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 in the locker rooms. He's going off about like how dare this, and he concealed it from us, just going off on him, right?
Right.
And then he goes, oh, man, and then right then the other guy goes, man, but where's your compassion? And then he goes, because the guy goes, the jury might think he has a case, and they all go, did you know he was sick, Bob? And the Bob guy's like, oh. And they go, Bob, did you know he was sick? And he was like, I mean, no, not really. And then they're like, oh, fucking Christ, Bob. And then they all walk away from him.
Oh, because they know, he actually does have a case.
So.
Ooh, baby, it's a wild world.
So we have a cut to, right? We're a black and white camera, like a old school video camera, but that's like what we're watching from.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's Tom Hanks. And he is showing everyone his parents' house, right? And it's like, he's like, hey, everybody, just making a tape here. Miguel's on the camera, and I just want to say it's a big day because it's my parents' 40th anniversary, and he's all happy. And he's telling everybody about, like, this is where I grew up. I fell right here. He's just saying all this stuff, being charming, and they're just making you fall in love with him in this scene.
Right.
You know what I mean? One of those scenes.
Right.
So talking about his childhood and stuff, and then he comes in and everyone freaks out. And they're like, hey, Andy. And they all come out, and his whole family's there. And the mom, she gives him a big hug, and then like the camera stays on the mom after she hugs him, and you can tell she's like trying just not to cry, and she's so proud of him and just looking at him, And then her brother, he has a big brother, comes in, his brother bear hugs him, and it's a really sweet moment. And then everyone at the end of the is like, it's still in video camera, everyone's like slow dancing, like to a slow song, and then it stops and everybody claps and cheers to the mom and dad, right? Then cuts to like real time. Like them all still the same day, but like now they're all like regular shot camera in the living room talking. And then it goes, Tom Hanks is like, no, just so you guys know, there are going to be things that are going to be hard to hear at this case. Okay, everybody. And I just want you to know that, if you don't want to come and this is too much, I understand, And he's growing his hair again too. And he looks a little healthier, right?
Okay.
It's a little bit better. So he's gained a little weight back now.
Okay. Okay. So they have the medication is there. It's getting there.
It's in ups and downs.
Yeah,
they're at that point of, I'm sure what it still is probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So his older brother says how, I've supported you. You're my little brother. I've supported you no matter what. I'm definitely gonna support you through this. The sister.
He's got a good family.
Yeah. The sister says how, I support you forever, but I am worried about mom and dad. They've just been through so much. They're older. This is gonna be so much to put on them and a lot of stress. Mm-hmm. And then the dad goes, this, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I teared up a little bit. The dad was like, how proud of him he is because of him and Miguel and how much courage they showed. Ooh. And you know what I mean? And how there's nothing anyone can say in that courtroom that's gonna make him feel any kind of way different. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then the mom says, and this one, me and Sam really start crying. The mom says, I didn't raise my kids to sit on the back of the bus. You fight for your rights, Andy. And then he's like, I love you guys. Like trying not to cry. You know what I mean? And then 7 months later. Dude, so good. So it got me, bro. This movie got me this morning. So Denzel. Great shot of Denzel. And it's like from the perspective of the jury. Like you can tell it's like, and it's just cut right to that shot. And he's serious. He's dead eyeing the camera. You know what I mean? And he goes, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, forget everything you've seen on movies and television. Okay, there's going to be no surprise witnesses. There's going to be no, last second murder weapon being found or anything like that. You know what I mean? He said, what's going to be presented to you is two simple facts. Andrew was fired. He said, what's going to be presented here is one simple fact. Andrew was fired. You're going to hear two reasons why. Ours and theirs. It's up to you to know which version sounds the most true. Then Denzel says how great of a lawyer Andrew Beckett is, and his speech is amazing, right? He does a speech about how great he is, and then he has 4 points, right? And he goes like point 1, point 2, and the fourth point he says how Andy's company panicked, and got rid of him when they found out he has AIDS, like we all try to do to people when we find out anyone has AIDS. That was his final point. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter, and then he goes, and the fact of the matter is, when they fired Andrew Beckett because he had AIDS, they broke the law.
That face is funny. I see it.
That's what he did. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I also had to do that whole monologue once in high school.
Really?
I remember that. Yeah, I just remember that because that was the last line. They broke the law. That's what he says. It's a great speech.
What class did you do that in?
Oh, I took acting 1 through 4, nigga, in high school.
I did not know that about you.
Yeah.
1 through 4. Where was that monologue? That seems like a 4 monologue.
Huh? Oh, that one? Nigga, it was all the same. Acting 1 and acting 4 was not a different class. I just love taking the class. It was just if you wanted to be it, in your acting 4 class, there were still niggas that were in there for acting 1. I would just have I got to let's say everybody in the class, acting 1, you get to here's the monologue you're doing. Right. I got to be I'm gonna do the Denzel monologue from Philadelphia or this monologue from Toy Story. I got to pick what I wanted to do.
Okay.
That's all it was.
Okay.
You got a little more freedom.
Okay, you stayed in the Tom Hanks world, I see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess I did.
Yeah. What different roles? Woody and a guy with AIDS.
AIDS, yeah.
What different
Well, I
roles?
was Denzel, but I feel you.
Yeah, I know you were Denzel, but you can stay in the Tom Hanks world.
So next is the white woman lawyer, like the lawyer for the partners. She comes up, right? It's
Okay.
a cold bitch. She's also the mom in Step Brothers.
Oh. Oh, well, also, what range?
Yeah, oh, she's great. Right?
Yeah.
She's great in this too. She is a cold bitch in this. So she says how Andy's competence as a lawyer was not good. It was adequate at best. And then she says all these things about how he was not a good lawyer and how there's all this proof of how he was not a good lawyer and how he went through great lengths to hide his disease and how that shows the kind of character he has and all these things. Right? To spin it as if he's a liar.
It's a good defense.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely good defense.
That's why if I was going to try and that's what my defense would be too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's great defense.
Decimate his character.
It's like, this is like chess.
Yeah. So, and she said how the partners didn't know that he had AIDS when they fired him. They fired him because of his work and because of the misplaced document. You know what I mean? And then she started saying, the Denzel guy was up here saying opinions. I'm going to give you facts. Fact. She goes, fact. Andrew misplaced the document. Fact. And then she looks at Andrew. She goes, Andrew is dying. Cold. Looks at him, right? And then she looks back at the jury. Fact. Andrew
I get
is
that.
angry. Because of his lifestyle, because of his reckless behavior, his life is now cut short. And in his anger and in his rage, he wants someone to pay.
Whoo! That's
Right?
a strong defense.
But she looks at him too like
Strong.
an evil woman too when she does this, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know what you're doing. Just still a monster.
Well,
No,
yeah, she's not-
she's doing her job.
She's not a good person, but
No, yeah, not a good. That's what I meant.
I appreciate
Just
good
not
game.
a good person. But
I do appreciate
and I
good
appreciate
game.
people good at their job.
Yeah, it's like,
So
oof.
I love this shot though. She says that about Andy. Andy turns
And
looks
smiles
at
at
his
the
family,
jury.
smiles at his family, and just gives them a thumbs up. And then the family, I love this. They cut to the family, and the family's all like, "Boo, fuck you," to the lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, dude, just the things that get you in this movie." are
Oh
just-
man, the family love is. I
strong.
mean, that makes that's just heartwarming.
Yeah,
You know.
especially through something so real, something so not
Mm-hmm.
like a sports movie or some shit. You know what I mean? Like something so serious. Anyway, outside. No, so Denzel questions. So they bring one of the big partners to the stand, right? And Denzel questions him, and he says how he has written proof saying that he was impressed and delighted with Andrew's work, and saying all these things about how good Andrew is as a lawyer. And then the guy goes, "Well, in all honesty, when I wrote that, I was delighted in his efforts, but in general, his work was satisfactory at best." And then he goes, "Okay." Denzel goes, "Okay, well, how about this? Do you agree that a bologna sandwich is a satisfactory meal?"
What's that? Who is he interrogating again?
One of the partners.
One of the partners.
Yeah,
That's right.
he's like,
I just missed that for
it's
whatever
okay.
reason.
He goes, "Would you? Bologna sandwich is a satisfactory meal." And then the other people are going, "Where are you going with this? Objection. Where are you going with this?" He goes, "I'm just saying, whereas would you say bologna sandwich is a satisfactory
and the
meal?"
judge allowed it.
Yeah.
Because
He-
what is he saying?
Yeah, he goes, whereas duck, caviar, blah 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 is a exemplary meal. And then the judge goes, I'm not gonna allow it. Right. And then he goes, "Okay, I'll rephrase my question. Did you win?" He goes, I'll rephrase my question. Explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old. Did you win the case? And then the guy goes, "Yes, I did win the case." And Denzel goes, "Oh, well, that must have been a satisfactory experience, huh?" And then the guy's like, "Fucking so good." Because see what he did is like, wait, so you telling me he won satisfactorily? Is that what you're saying? Oh, no, you're not saying that. Okay, then so he did do a delightful job. You know what I mean? Because he won.
Or you're just or you're just pivoting to make satisfactory sound like great.
Mm-hmm.
That's man.
Funny.
We're watching a mental chess game.
Oh,
happen now.
I told you, it's our first courtroom movie. We've never done one of these.
Yeah,
this is our first courtroom
real
mental
deal
movie.
courtroom.
The whole movie's done in court pretty much.
I
other than the
love
first half.
courtroom movies.
They're so good.
They're
dude.
so good.
Oh, they're so good. And the whole movie just like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So outside, they go to cuts outside, and people are protesting gay people, and people are protesting homophobia. You know what I mean? Like this case is now blown up.
Oh,
It's
so the
humongous.
law firm already lost.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So Andy comes out, and people are screaming crazy shit at him. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and the people are screaming, "We love you." You know what I mean? Like the whole gauntlet.
Right.
And he's walking through the middle of it all, and then Denzel gives this great speech. Like a reporter comes up and he gives this great speech about freedom and Philadelphia is a city really of brotherly love and what's more brotherly love than two brotherly men sharing love? You know what I mean? Like he spends it like that, like a great speech. And then it cuts to them, him like with all his lawyer buddies watching this at a bar, and they're all like kind of laughing and cheering him on. And then a guy goes, "Hey, Joe, you gotta make sure you're not getting too light in the sneakers over there." And then everybody laughs, and then Denzel's like, "Yeah, maybe I am, Philco, huh? Maybe I'm changing. I'm on the prowl, huh? And I'm looking for a hunk, a real man. Huh? You want to play sailor tonight?" Huh? And then the guy gets mad. He's like, "Hey, knock it off, Joe." And then he's like, "Huh? Just you shut your fucking mouth. These people make me just as sick as you. All right?" He's like, but the law was broken. You remember the law, don't you, Philco?" And he's looking at him. He's like, "Yeah, I remember the law." And then another guy goes, "Well, at least we can agree on one thing, Joe." And then Joe's like, "What's that?" "Tutti Fruttis make me sick." And then Denzel just finishes his drink, and now he's like pissed, right? So
just one guy. It's crazy what one guy can do.
Back in the courtroom, Denzel is now questioning the lady. Remember I said earlier this lady who had AIDS before with the blood transfusion?
Yeah,
she worked with the guy,
pre-AIDS
right?
lady.
So she's questioning her. Okay. And she's saying Denzel's saying how he's asking how that partner at that firm treated her when she had AIDS, she had lesions on her body, blah, blah, blah. And she said how the boss hated her and he made her cover up her lesions and did all this stuff and was just disgusted by her, didn't talk to her, all these things. Mm-hmm. So then the other lawyer gets up and says, "Well, how did you get AIDS?" And then she says how she got it through a blood transfusion through like a surgery or something. And then they make Andy, she spins it to make that seem normal. And Andy's way of getting it seem like a
bad.
monstrous shit. Yeah. Like, bad. But not just bad though, but just like devil work. Like, you know what I mean? Like he brought it upon himself kind of shit. You know, like there's the wording of how she does it. It's just very good wording. And so she, and then like the lady, like you could tell, like the lady gets the room at the end of the speech, and then you can see the lady, she feels bad. She's looking at Andy, and Andy kind of looks disappointed, and then she goes, "But I don't consider myself any different than anyone with this disease." And then the judge goes, "Order in the court. That's enough, ma'am." And then she goes, "I'm not guilty or innocent. I'm just trying to survive." And then Andy looks up and he smiles at her, you know, like, and then she's like smiles back at him. You know what I mean? It's a good moment. And then so the next thing,
and the judge disallowed it.
Huh?
The judge disallowed it. Yeah.
So the woman in the office,
but the jury heard. Like
I know, right? I know. Before you even say it, right? Like, what the fuck is going on in courtroom?
Like, I've never heard anyone talk about it, but we all know, right? Like, it's it's not like we're like, oh, well, we can just forget about that. Bloop, 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 bloop. All those emotions I had, gone now. Get the fuck out of here.
The real murderer was the mom. Don't allow that. Don't allow that. Jury, you didn't hear that. Okay. And then how the jury has to not think about the real murderer?
Yeah, like, right?
I don't get that. Yeah.
That's been on my chest for 26 years.
You just needed this podcast to get the format.
I just never had the opportunity to yell about that.
Oh, God.
Law and Order is not something you watch with other people generally.
Yeah, usually a by yourself thing.
Yeah.
So, where are we? Okay. So the woman in the office that he was asking now in the beginning for help on a case, and she was like, "Get their own help." They're interviewing her now.
Right.
Okay, this black woman that he was clearly friends with. Mm-hmm. And she is pissed at the partners. She goes off on how the partners, she definitely knew the partners are bullshit and that they knew and discriminating and blah, blah, blah.
You got that sassy black friend.
Mm-hmm. And then Denzel asks her if she's ever felt discriminated against. And then she says once. And then she said, Mr. Wheeler said, my earrings were too ethnic and he wished I wore something a little smaller and more American. And then they were like, "Oh, what'd you say to that?" And she was like, "I said my earrings are American, African American." And then everybody laughs in the room. Even the Mr. Wheeler guy, like he laughs and nods. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember that. You know what I mean?
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
A human.
He's a human.
So Denzel goes, "No further questions." And then the other woman, the co-lawyer, she gets up and she goes, "Miss Burton, weren't you recently promoted?" And then she's like, "Yes, I was." And she goes, "Wow. She goes, "Well, congrats on your unfettered promotion." And she goes, "I wouldn't say it was unfettered. I had to earn it and blah, blah, blah." And she goes, "Oh." But then the lawyer goes, "Oh, you had to earn it. So you're saying that you earned it, and then through your earned rankings, you still were allowed to climb their ranks and get promoted, and you're still climbing, aren't you?" And she's like, "Yes." "Oh, so how are the partners discriminating?" Like, you know what I mean? Like she just spun it again, like, so good, dude. She's really good. And then she's like, "So you're saying that," she said, "So is it possible that this is all just a misunderstanding?" And then the woman has, because she's got her in that corner, she has to be like,
Yeah.
yes, it is possible.
Ooh.
Listen, is understanding. You know what I mean?
Whew, I like this lawyer.
She's good. So Denzel is now cut to, he's at a pharmacy. Right? He's at like a Walgreens or some shit.
She seems more in control than the OJ lawyer. Like, that's the other big
Oh,
lawyer. Yeah.
not even close. This is not the same lawyer at all.
I know,
That
but-
lawyer's an idiot. This lawyer is a cold, calculated motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This more lawyer is way more like the black dude. You know what I'm saying? She's way more like him than she is like the white lady in that show.
Yeah, but the black dude's an idiot too.
No. The black dude who won.
Oh, Johnny Cochran.
Yeah. I'm saying,
Okay,
she's
yeah,
way
yeah.
more like him. You know what I mean? Like an
okay.
actual like cold, calculated assassin.
Yeah,
that's gonna say whatever it is to win.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
make
that's
the right
the loser
moves.
black guy.
Okay,
No, neither
yeah.
one of them.
Yeah, prosecution sucked.
Yeah, they just were bad. No,
Yeah.
both of these are good lawyers.
Yeah.
That's why none of this, I'm like, well, what idiot? Oh, smart, idiot. It's like, no, they're both like, ooh.
Ooh, who's
good
gonna
points.
win?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So Denzel's at a pharmacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a young black guy comes in and he goes, hey, you're the lawyer on TV. I saw you on TV. And Denzel's like, yeah, I am that guy. You know, I was smiling. And then he goes, hey, man, I just want to say I'm a law student at Penn. And the work you're doing, brother, I just want to say this case is really important. And you're doing a fantastic job. And then Denzel's like, thank you, brother. And he daps him up and hugs him. He's like, how long you say you've been in school? He's like, I've been in law school 2 years. He goes, tell you what, when you're done, gives him his card, you call me. Okay, brother, you call me. And he's like, oh, thank you, Joe. And he walks off. And then he goes, hey, Joe, listen, can I ask you one more thing? And he's like, yeah, what's up? He goes, do you want to get a drink? And then Denzel's like, actually, man, I got to get home to my wife. I'm sorry, I don't have time. And then the guy leans in. He's like, listen, man, I don't usually pick up guys at drugstores, okay? And then Denzel's like, you think I'm gay? Mother, I look gay to you? And then the guy goes, do I look gay to you? And then he goes, you motherfucking faggot, you faggot ass. You fucking, and then he grabs him. And he's like, see, this is the kind of shit, this is why everybody fucking hates you motherfuckers. Faggoty ass little faggot. And he fucking walks off. And then he's like, all right, Joe. The gay guy's like, damn, relax, man. Like, take it easy. Like, dude, just, like, what's going on? You got to take it easy or some shit. And then he goes, you know what, man? He goes, you know what, man? I ought to kick your fucking ass. I knew you looking at kick my ass. And then the gay guy calmly goes, you want to try and kick my ass, Joe? Right? And then Denzel's like, you motherfucker. And then the gay guy's like, all right, whatever, asshole. And he's like, I'm the asshole. You're the asshole, buddy. And then Denzel storms out. Like, he's so mad. You know what I mean?
Oh, because he knows he's gonna lose that fight too.
Well, and you can just tell just because the gay dude did it in a way of like, it challenged his beliefs. That's why this is my favorite scene in the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's not because it's the way he hit on him. It wasn't what, in his head, you can tell Denzel thinks gay people are this one thing. Fruity, tooty, boo, boo, gay people.
Right, but this
is a regular dude who's just gay.
Yeah.
And he hit on you like how men hit on women. And you could tell it just, it was homophobic of like a man's hitting on me, but I love the scene because also just that it challenges beliefs of what a gay person is.
Right. It's a guy who can ask him out normally and could also beat him up.
Yeah, exactly. And the dude just got done playing. He had a football and a jersey on. So he clearly just got done playing like flag football with his boys.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it fucked him up, you know? So cut to day 10 of the case. Okay. So the assistant now who called him about the complaint and the one he let go home earlier in the movie, she is now crying on the stand and giving her sob story about the Highland complaint and how it went missing and it went wrong. And Andy was just a monster that day, yelling at everybody and blaming everybody. And then it ended up when they found it, he just apologized to everybody profusely, right? And like it was all his fault, right? And then so this is the boss lady asking questions. Yeah. So then Denzel gives her, like, he's like, can I ask a question? And then they're like, yeah. And then he approaches the bench. He gives her a tissue, real smooth, right? And he goes, are you okay? You need a glass of water? And she's like, no, I'm fine. And he goes, okay. Was Andy a good boss? And she's like, yes, he was very sweet. He goes, okay. And did you have were any of the problems of the senior partners, like, did they happen prior to this complaint? Like, did you hear any? And then she was like, no. Like, she even had to be like, no one complained before this, ever. Right. You know what I'm saying? Then it's this great shot. It cuts right there, right? To this guy coming out of the bathroom. Like, out of nowhere. You're like, what? And this guy's coming out of the bathroom, and then he walks into the courtroom, and then Denzel's in the middle of it. It's such a cool shot, bro. Because you're kind of like, what? And then because you're like, what? And then it cuts, and then now, like, you're back in the courtroom again from this different angle, but now you're coming in from this guy's, like, perspective almost. You know what I mean? And Denzel's already in the middle of talking, and now he's talking to the guy who found the complaint, apparently. The guy who was panicking, saying that it wasn't on the computers and all this stuff.
Right.
And then Denzel's listening to the guy's story, And then Denzel goes, sir, did you have anything to do with that misplaced file? And then they're like, objection, blah, blah, blah. And I'll replays the question. The misplaced file, did you know anything about it in any way, whatever, right? And then the guy goes, absolutely not. And then Denzel looks at him more and he goes, well, let me ask you this. Are you a homosexual? And the guy's like, what? And everybody's like, objection, objection. Are you a faggot? Are you a pillow biter? Are you a queen, a queer? Huh? Are you gay? And everyone's like, objection, objection. That you should not allow. And then the guy's on the stand like, clearly gay as fuck. You know what I mean?
Oh God, I got cut gay-handed.
Gay-handed.
Yeah.
So gay.
Oh God.
Just dicks all of a sudden.
Just jazz hands.
So the court goes crazy, and then the judge calls. And Tom is looking up at Denzel like, why would you say such things? You know what I mean? And then the judge is like, approach the bench, sir. And then Denzel, and he goes, you want to tell me what's going on in your mind? And he goes, Your Honor, everybody in this courtroom is thinking about sexual orientation. Okay? He said, he goes, what everyone wants to know is who does what to whom and how they're doing it. They're looking at all of us. They're looking at me. They're looking at Mr. Wheeler. They're looking at, the guy on the stand. They're looking at you, Judge.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking at, he said, I know they're looking at me. Everybody's wondering, are you gay? Is this person gay? So let's get it out there. That's what this case is about. We need to talk about it. That's what this case is actually about. You know what I mean?
Ooh, good pivot. Good. Yeah. Pivot.
O.J. Cochran them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he goes, so let's get it out. And he said, because what this case is really about is our hatred towards homosexuals and how that hatred got my client fired. And then the judge goes, have a seat, Mr. whatever. And then he goes, Tom whispers in his ear, he's like, very good. Because he sees what he did there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the judge goes, well, I'll have you know, sir, in this courtroom, justice is blind. And then Denzel goes, well, with all due respect, Your Honor, we don't live in this courtroom. Woo! And then the judge goes, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Like you're right.
And then Denzel
right.
put on some sunglasses and just left. Yeah.
So now they talk to the partner who says Andy had an attitude. Remember that guy who was like, this is a bad attitude. The bad attitude we're talking about. The guy who noticed the legions.
Okay.
And Denzel questions him about being a Navy man. He's like, I heard you're a Navy man, blah, blah, blah. And then he leads to asking, was there any gay stuff going on when you were in the Navy? Two sailors down low making flippy flop, and then the guy laughs, and he goes, no. Well, we had one guy like that. And then Denzel goes, a homosexual? And he goes, well, the guy strutted around naked trying to get everybody to notice him all the time. And he goes, huh. But he goes, but we handled that. And he goes, how? Did you write a letter? And he goes, we stuck his head in a latrine after 10 of us had used it. And they were like, whoa. And then they cut to an old man in the jury, and he smiles real big, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he goes, taught him a lesson, huh? And he's like, yes, we did. He's like, just like how you taught Andrew Beckett a lesson. And he's like, no. And then he questions him more about how his repulsiveness to AIDS and how he has and then the guy flips it and he goes, no, I had compassion for Melissa, the other woman that he worked for. He was like, because she had AIDS, this blood transfusion, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. He's like, now what people do in their own personal time, that's disgusting. And then he starts going off just saying horrible things. You know what I mean?
Ooh, just sort of helping Denzel's case a little
much.
bit. Yeah.
So it cuts to back at home. And Antonio Banderas is giving Tom his medicine, Andy's medicine, right? Mm-hmm. And Andy's working on the case, right? And Tom's like, Antonio's like, the IV is not going through. And then Tom's like, yeah, I guess the veins closed, not really paying attention. And then he goes, and then he's trying to work on it. And he calls him Nurse Ratchet, still not really giving him any attention. Right. And then he looks, and then and Tom's like, there's just so much I have to get done. Can we just skip the treatment tonight? And then Antonio's like, no, right? And then he goes, we aren't skipping treatment. And then Tom laughs. He's like, it's my arm, my treatment. I say we skip it. And then Antonio sits down and he goes, you know something? He said, this stuff, it's saving your life. And then Tom's still working. He's like, close the book. And he's like, okay, give me 1 second. And he grabs it, throws it. And then Tom's like, okay,
Yeah.
And then he goes, the least you can do is look at me right now and give me a little of your time. And then Tom goes, oh, I see. You're worried that we don't have much time left, aren't you? And then Tony's like, no, that's not why I'm worried. And he walks off. And Tom says, well, how about this? How about I just go ahead and start planning my memorial now? How about that? Is that what you want? I just start planning my memorial. And then and he's like, and I prepare for the inevitable. And then Antonio's real sad. He goes, maybe you should think about it. And then Tom's like, for a long time, no. no, no, no. You're right. Like, bro, no,
Such a great couple fight too.
Come on. And then he goes, I have a better idea. And cut to huge gay costume party.
That is a better idea. That is
Legitimately way better idea than planning your memorial.
You nailed that, whoever wrote that. That is a much better idea.
So they're dressed as sailors.
Of course.
Right? And everyone has on funny costumes. And Denzel walks in with his wife and he's like, oh, you're looking alive tonight. And he's like, yeah, I had a blood transfusion. And then Denzel has papers stapled all to his body and he goes, like his suit, and he goes, you get it? And then Tom's like, no. He's like, I'm a lawsuit. A lawsuit. He's like, oh.
Hey, Denzel's trying. Yeah, Denzel's growing as a person.
He's trying, bro.
Yeah, he is.
So Denzel says, hey, we got to get to the Q&A stuff about you tomorrow. You know you're going on the stand. And he's like, hey, okay, we can do that, but I'm at a party right now. And he's like, oh yeah, I know, but at some point. And he's like, all right, I promise, at some point we'll get to it, right? And then the party continues, and they're just having a great time, right?
He's gonna be like hungover on the stand and shit.
No, well, that'd be funny. The party's gay as shit. It's like people like singing like group, like acapella kind of choruses and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And but Tom's having a great time, and it cuts to everyone slow dancing, and then Denzel's watching. He just kind of as he slow down with his wife, he's looking at Tom and Antonio, and he's just seeing how much like they just love each other. You know what I mean? And so after the party, everybody's cleaning up and everybody's leaving. Denzel and Tom are like, all right, let's get to work. So right before they get to work, Tom goes, by the way, congrats, counselor. And he's like, what? And he goes, you survived your first gay party intact. And he laughs. He's like, oh, thank you. And he goes,
Ooh, what happens? They're bonding now. Well, they've already been bonding. It's pretty dope to have like a second lawyer on your side. I think that really helps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes, he laughs. He goes, let me tell you something, Andrew. He goes, you brought up the way I'm brought up, just like the way that most of this country is brought up. Homosexuality is not in the discussion. And as a kid, you're taught queers are bad and they're weird and they just want to get in your pants. And that's the general assumption of most. You understand that? And then Tom's like, okay. And he's like, good. He's like, good. I'm glad I told you this. And he's like, I'm glad you told me too. And he's like, okay, let's get to work. And then they get to work and then he goes, hey, Miller. And he's like, what? He's like, you pray? He's like, Andy, that's not one of the questions that we need to be asking right now. He's like, no, man, come on, do you pray? He's like, yeah, I pray. He's like, well, what do you pray for? I don't know. I pray for my daughter's health. I pray for the Phillies to win the pennant. You know what I mean? I pray. What do you mean?
You have to wait a while then, so.
Uh-oh. You went there, guys, not me.
Yeah. Fuck you, Philly.
We lose like all
we lose all listeners.
So, he's like, how about we go through these questions? And then Tom says, he goes, there's a possibility I won't even be here for the end of this trial. And he kind of smiles. And then he's like, I set up some stuff if I win for charities and the money to go to. He's like, but Miguel's going to need a lawyer. Can you help him with that? He's like, I know you don't do that kind of law. And he's like, yeah, of course I will. Okay, but can we get to work? He's like, yeah. And then he asked him the question again that's like, so, Andy, do you blah, blah, blah? And then he's like, hey, Joe, do you like opera music? And then he's like, what? And he's like, opera music. It's my favorite. And then he cuts it up. And he's like, this is my favorite artist. And then Denzel, you can tell he's just trying to like get back to work and Tom just ignoring him. Mm-hmm. And then he describes what the woman is singing, like this French woman. And it's this really intense, long, this scene's probably like 5-10 minutes.
Ooh.
Okay. And it's shot like a play. You know what I mean? Like it's shot like Tom, like the lights kind of dim on him and it's the camera follows him and he gives this like, and he's got his IV thing and he's got eyes closed and he's crying and he's giving this beautiful speech about what this woman's talking about. You know what I mean? And Denzel's just kind of watching him just like, it's a long scene. And so right then at the end,
emotionally wrecked already, dude.
Oh yeah. It ends, Tom's crying, and then Denzel just goes, geez, man, I think I gotta get out of here. We'll just go over I'll look over the Q&A and we'll go over later, blah, blah, blah. And you can tell he's just uncomfortable. He's just like, I gotta get out of here.
Right.
And then he says bye. Tom just stands alone, and then Denzel, he leaves, and then he's outside the door, right? And he goes to leave, and then he hears the music kick up again. He's like, oh, Andy. And he thinks, and then he goes to knock on the door again, and then he just leaves. Okay? So he runs home. He literally runs home. And he runs into his daughter's bedroom, and he picks her up, and he wakes her up, and he holds her, and she's just crying, and he holds her, and he kisses her. He says, I love you, Larice. He puts her down, and then he runs into his wife's room, and he just jumps in bed with her, and he just holds her. And then it's just a close-up of Denzel's face, and he's just... like that. You know what I mean? No words. Really deep. So, back in the courtroom, all right? Andy is now on the stand. And Joe is questioning him first. Denzel questions him first, and he asks how he got the job at Wyatt and Wheeler. And then he says how Wyatt and Wheeler recruited me aggressively. And he goes, I was impressed with all the partners, particularly Charles, the main guy, you know? And he goes, he was the type of lawyer I wanted to always be, razor sharp litigator, great leader. He just says, just a man who really knew everything about law and actually cared about it, and says all these amazing things about the guy. And it cuts to the guy, and then the guy, Charles guy, just gets sad. Like he's like smiling, and then he's like, and you can see because this dude's just being honest and saying really nice things about him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, so he goes, Denzel goes, you ever tell him you were gay? And he tells him how he kept all the personal. He goes, no, because it was my personal life. And then he goes, but I did plan to tell him at one point. And then he goes, oh, what happened? He's like, something happened about 3 years ago that stopped me. And he goes, oh, what happened? He goes, well, we were at a club and someone started telling jokes. And then it cuts to, and they're in a spa, like in a sauna, and all the olders, and they're telling like really shitty jokes about women, like shitty jokes, like old school jokes. And then they tell this one about like how do faggots come? And it's like, oh, you spit yogurt on somebody's back or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? And then they all bust out laughing. And then Tom's like, and they're all hitting him too. And then Hanks is like, he pretends to laugh, but it's kind of like, like
I can't tell you shit.
Yeah, I can't fuck with these guys. You know what I mean? And then he says, but someone started saying jokes about faggots, and and then I just didn't do it. And they go, well, how did that make you feel? Denzel goes, how did that make you feel? He said, honestly, relieved. He goes, relieved that I never told him I was gay in the first place. That it was just, I never had to deal with that. And then he goes, well, are you a good lawyer? And he goes, I'm an excellent lawyer. And he goes, well, what makes, and then he goes, well, what makes you an excellent lawyer? And he goes, well, I care about the law. And he goes, and what makes me love the law so much is that every now and again, not often, but occasionally, you get to be a part of justice being done. And that's quite a thrill when it happens, right? And then Denzel goes, thank you, Andrew. All right, now Andrew's, also should mention, he's skinny as fuck at this point.
He's back to skinny as fuck.
He's back to sick, okay?
Yeah.
Like Tom Hanks, like, God damn, what did you eat, bro? So now the cold woman lawyer gets up to question him, right? And she asks if he takes risks. And then he goes, he says in work, he said, I take risks in work. That's why, but that's it, And then like good quality. He says it like I take these kind of risks, but like logistical
They're
risks.
good. They're good.
Yeah.
They make him look good.
So he's starting to get faint, and you can see like it's now from his point of view, and his sight's getting blurry on the stand.
Yeah.
And then the woman asks about the stress that would affect his immune system at work and how it affected his work, and he said it didn't. And then they ask if he's ever been to the Stallion Cinema on 21st Street, and then he gets quiet, and he's like, yeah, I've been there. And then they cut back. It's a flashback, and it shows Tom walking in this theater. And then he's like, I've been 3 times, and he's getting real fainty, right?
Right.
And then the woman goes, what kind of movies do they show? And then he goes, gay movies. And then she goes, pornographic movies? Yes. And then she goes, and then Denzel goes, objection, Your Honor. And then the judge says, no, continue, And then she goes, do men have sex with each other in that theater? And he goes, some men. And she goes, did you? Yes, once. And she goes, and then they show Tom meeting, and then they cut back to flashback again. And it's like some guy going, and like they're watching porn, and Tom's like this, right? And then some guy sits next to him. He's like, hey, I'm Robert. And Tom's like, hi. You know what I mean? Like, bro, it's like,
Real shit.
Yeah. And then she goes, when did this happen? And he goes, I guess it was between 84 and 85. And then she says, well, were you aware of AIDS at this time? And then he goes, I had heard a thing about a gay plague or a gay cancer, but no one knew about it or looked into it or knew if it was real, Or she said, no one, he said, definitely no one knew it could kill you. And then she goes, now he's getting really weak and really fainty, And then she goes, do you need a break? And then he goes, no, I could just use some water. And then the camera like keeps shaking from his point of view, right? And then he drinks. And then she asks about him hiding his homosexuality. And this shows the faces of the people on the jury, and they're all like judging him, Yeah. And then she spins the question as if he's like a liar and a bad person, and that's why he's been hiding his personality.
Right.
And then they asked him if when he did have sex in that theater, did he cheat on his lover? Was he with Antonio Banderas? And he goes, yes. And then they go, so you could have so you could have infected him. And then he goes, he's not infected. And then she said, answer my question. You could have infected him. And he was like, yes. Oh, that's a fucked up thing to have to say out loud, bro. You know what I mean? Because you know you did that. You have to admit that. And
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
She goes, you've had
oh my God.
So she says the reason of she says, so you're saying the reason you were fired is because your legions got noticed. And he's like, yes. And he's extremely weak. And then she says, do you still have any legions? He goes, yes, I have one on my face. And then she goes, remember, you are under oath now. And then she walks up to him and she brings a mirror and she holds it up from him. She goes, I am 3 feet away from your face. 3 feet away from your face. Can you see the legion on your face? And then he goes, no, but at the time I had 4 legions and they were way bigger. And then she goes, answer the question. Can you see the legion on your face now? And he goes, no, I cannot see the legion on my face. And she goes, thank you. And then she goes, no further questions. And then right then, like he's about to faint. And then Denzel goes, can I have 3 more minutes with the man on the stand, Your Honor? And then he's like, if he can allow it. And then Tom's like, yeah, like he can do it. And he's like, okay. He goes, Mr. Beckett, do you have any legions on your body that resemble the ones on your face at the time that you were fired? And he goes, yes, on my torso. And he asked to show them. He's like, can you get up and show them? And then everyone, objection. And then Denzel spins it beautifully. And he goes, objection. He goes, excuse me, Your Honor, but if this was a man who was in a wheelchair, they say objection because it's gonna, it'll, whatever the witness, it'll, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Persuade the witness or whatever. Like it'll influence the witness. It'll influence the witness. And then he goes, so you're telling me if this was a man in a wheelchair, would he have to leave his wheelchair outside because it would influence the witnesses? No, we're talking about AIDS. You brought up legions. Let's show the jury what legions look like. And the judge is like, continue, you know? And so takes him a long time because he's so weak. And he's unbuttoning. And then he gets up, opens his shirt, nigga. And then everybody's just disgusted. Oh, and then the woman and the guys, the partners are like, I hate this case. This is bullshit. You know, they're all going, and then I love it. Tom Hanks is just smiling. You know what I mean? Like, take it all in, you motherfuckers. It's a great shot, dude.
So much.
Yeah.
So much.
Andy, so it's a really heartfelt scene, too. So right now, they cut to Mr. Wheeler. He's now taking the stand, all right? The big dog. And the cold lady asks some questions first. And she says, did you fire Andrew Beckett because he had AIDS? And he goes, no. And then they keep asking him questions. But for Andy, it's coming in and out because like it cuts to him listening, but it's because it's weaker and weaker. So you hear it and then you don't hear it. And you hear it and then you don't hear it. You know what I mean? He's just getting fucked
that's
up.
That's a good way to.
Yeah, show it, right?
Yeah.
And then they asked him to explain why they hired him, and he explains it like, well, imagine being a young rookie in baseball. You know, we thought he was a young prospect, and we promoted him, and we stuck with him even though that he wasn't a good worker because we already invested so much in him. And then it got to a certain point, just like a young rookie, where you got to let him go.
You got to let it go, yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of sports references in this one. I appreciate it.
So she goes, thank you, Mr. Wheeler. So Denzel, he starts his speech by just clapping, right? And everybody's like, Mr. Yeah, excuse me, sir, objection, right? He goes, Mr. Wheeler, you are my hero also. That was beautifully done. Are you gay? And then Mr. Wheeler laughs, right? And he goes, how dare you? And then the judge goes, kindly answer, sir. Mm-hmm. And he goes, no, I'm not. And he goes, well, isn't it true when you realized your golden boy was gay with AIDS and you started thinking of all the intimate moments you had, all the locker room experiences, all the deep conversations, all the high fives, all the butt slaps? Did that not make you sick? And then the guy goes,
that's a good way to frame that question.
Yeah.
Just make him think of gay shit.
Yeah, right. And he goes, no, that wasn't the case at all. And he goes, that's not the case at all. He goes, you telling me you weren't worried that him being gay reflected on what it might make you look like.
Right.
And he goes, no, that's not true. He's like, maybe you should read your Bible about what it says about gay people. And he goes, oh, what does it say? And then he starts saying that kind of shit. You know what I mean? And then right then Tom gets up and he's like, excuse me. And then he falls, right? Full on cardiac arrest. Just lose, you know?
Oh, damn. He gets a heart attack or like a seizure?
Seizure. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just,
okay.
So someone call an ambulance. And he's just shaking. And then they rush him to the hospital. They get him to the hospital. He's still having it. And like Antonio Banderas in there, he's screaming, that's not working. It's not working. And they're like, get him out of here.
Yeah.
And they have to like pick him up and get him out because he's just going crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ. What the fuck? This turned the fuck up.
Right? When did it turn down?
Yeah, but like this. Okay, that's fair.
So cut back in the courtroom now, okay?
Right.
And they question the guy who remember the guy in the beginning who was like, we should settle, the Bob guy.
Right.
They question him, and he says how he suspected Andy had AIDS. They asked if he told any one of his assumptions, though, and he goes, no. He said, I honestly did not tell anyone of that I thought he had AIDS to the partners or even to Andy, and I will regret that, every day of my life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? This guy feels bad.
Okay.
And then and then right then they cut to the jury talking, right? And the jury's talking, and the one guy who's the head jury, he goes, I just don't understand. So he's like, let me just think about this. So you're telling me if I was a pilot, like I ran an airline, and I knew that I had the biggest flight of my company's history.
Right.
Am I going to give it to a rookie because I want to see what he can do? Or am I going to give it to the best man at my firm? And everybody in the room was like,
what a good point.
Right? And then he looked at everybody and goes, now explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old. And then they all laugh, right? Cut to jury number 3, I agree. Jury number 4, I agree. Jury number 5, I agree. And the only person, jury number 10, disagree. Jury number 11, agree. Jury number 12, agree. What do you guys agree to? We agree the award that the plaintiff will receive damages of $143,000 for mental, for damages $143,000, for mental damages $100,000, and for punitive damages $4.5 million. Woo! The family goes crazy, and then the guys on the other side, the partners are like pissed.
Fuck, you lost and you made it a big media circus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you idiots.
Which you knew you were gonna lose.
Yeah.
The dude told him, like, bro, just settle.
Yeah.
Just settle. You're not gonna win this. You know what I mean? Because also the dude was too good of a lawyer.
Also, shout out to 12 Angry Men. Juror number 10 is the one that disagrees.
Jury number 10 did disagree.
Juror number 10 is the one that disagrees.
And he disagrees because I saw that. I was like, ooh, one of them disagreed, but the case was it wasn't like it was like a suing case. So that apparently you don't need them all or something like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
but
9-3.
Yeah. So
12 Angry Men finds its way in our podcast again.
So the trial concludes. Everybody's congratulations, Denzel. Congrats, Mr. Miller. The other cold lawyers, like, even she goes, congrats, Mr. Miller. I'll see you at the appeal. He's like, I'll see you there,
Right.
And then Denzel, he's hugging the family, and all the family's like, see you at the hospital, right? And so they get to Denzel. He's coming to the hospital, and he's got like champagne, and he take him into the room, and the doctor is telling the family, like, as he's walking in the room, you hear him. So you don't see the doctor, you see his perspective, right? And the doctor's telling the family, and they're not even seeing him. They're just listening to the doctor. And he's telling the family how he lost vision in his right eye, and how he this amount of his blood's not working, and this, and like just the real bad shit. You know what I mean? And they're just taking it. And he walks past that, and then the rest of the family's in the room, and they all see him, and they're like, hey! And then he holds up the champagne, and then he looks over, and Tom's barely a human, just withered completely away, tubes all up, mask on. And then he's looking at him, and then he looks at Denzel, and then Tom goes like that in the mask. And then Denzel holds up the champagne like with a smile, right? And then he goes, God, Tom's such a badass actor. He goes, just slowly calls him over and like just pats on doesn't move his hand, just pats on the seat next to him, like, come sit. And then Denzel's like, and then he's like, come on,
Yeah.
And then Denzel walks over slowly, and then he goes, Tom takes his mask off, and he goes, what do you call? And then Denzel goes, how you doing? And Tom goes, what do you call 1,000 lawyers chained at the bottom of the ocean? And Denzel's like, what? A good start. And he's like, he's like trying to laugh.
Oh, right? What a great joke.
Yeah.
What a great joke.
And then he goes, excellent work, counselor. He's like, thank you. And then Denzel goes, it was great working with you too, counselor. And then he smiles, and then Tom can't breathe. He's like, and he tries to put his mask on, and he can't. And then Denzel's like, I got it. He puts his mask on for him, and then he goes, Denzel's like, I better go. And he's like, yeah, sure thing. And then Tom's like, I'll see you later. No, Denzel's like, I'll see you later. And Tom's like, just nods. And then he's like, thanks for stopping by. And then Tom's like, and then Denzel's like, no, I'm gonna see you again soon, man. And Tom's like, uh-huh. And then they hug. And then the mom thanks Denzel and hugs him, and the rest of the family's like hugging him as on his way out. So then the doctor comes in and she's checking on him, right? And then his big brother comes in, he gives him a kiss and he's like, hey, I'll see you tomorrow morning, all right, bro? He's like, and then, he leaves and then the dad comes over, he's like, good night, son. He gives him a kiss and he's like, get some rest. And he's like, I love you, Dad. He's like, I love you too. And then his sister and his other brother comes and gives him his kiss. And then the younger brother, bro, goes up to hug him. And then he's just staring at him for a while. And then he just breaks. Fucked me up, bro. The little brother he just breaks. And he's just holding him. And then he's like, it's all right. It's all right. I'm going to see you tomorrow morning. It's all right. I'll see you tomorrow morning. And the little brother like gets up. He's just like, he walks off, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then
he
goes,
man,
good night. And then the mom comes up and she's like, my sweet angel, my sweet boy. She kisses him. She's crying. And then, they hug. The family's all hugging. And then he kisses his mom's hand. His mom kisses his hand like a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody leaves, right? And then Miguel comes up and then he kisses his hand a bunch. He's just looking at him. They're staring at each other.
Right.
And then Tom takes his mask off. And then he goes, Miguel, I'm ready. Cut to Denzel sleep with his wife. Bring, bring. Gets that call. And he's like, hello? What? Miguel, slow down. What? Cut to, they're at like a reception, right? Denzel's coming in a big reception. Sad music's playing. Everybody's talking and just kind of hugging. And you know what I mean? And there's a really nice candle display. And then it's a picture of him and Miguel. Mm-hmm. And then Denzel and his family, they show up and everybody's like, everybody's just hugging and then they all sit and they watch home movies of Andy. And then the camera fades in and then it's just home movies of Andy for a long time. And then that fades into the credits. Philadelphia. But, Baba, come back. Baba, we gotta wrap it up. And that's Philadelphia, you beaners.
See you next week.